The BMW keys glinted under the chandelier's glow as Connor swung them playfully before 200 guests, while I lingered outside in the shadows, peering through the window at my own birthday celebration. My twin brother's grin was flawless, polished, oblivious to the fact that his other half had been intentionally excluded from the festivities. The true mystery wasn't why they overlooked me. It was why I allowed them a decade to discover I'd been watching from the sidelines all along. I'm Jasper, once Jasper Mitchell, now Jasper Cross. On the night of our 16th birthday, I realized that being born 7 minutes after Connor rendered me invisible in every way that counted. Connor and I shared the same face, but we were opposites in every other sense. He was the shining star, varsity quarterback, effortless honor student, the son who made our parents beam at country club gatherings. I was the dreamer, the quiet one, the kid who spent lunch breaks in the music room crafting melodies no one would ever hear. Connor's got that spark, Mom would say, tousling his hair over breakfast while I sat quietly with my cereal. That spark, apparently, justified a Sweet 16 extravaganza that rivaled most weddings in cost. 3 months before our birthday, the planning kicked off. Mom and Connor huddled at the dining table with event coordinators, pastry chefs, and a guest list that looked like a roster of our Connecticut town's elite. What about my party? I asked once, foolishly expecting 2 celebrations. Mom barely looked up. Oh, we'll do something simple for you. Maybe dinner at that Italian spot you enjoy. But as October 15th neared, even that faint promise vanished. A week early, I stumbled upon a BMW hidden under a tarp in the garage. Staring at its sleek black finish, I asked Dad, "Whose is this?" "Connor's birthday gift," he replied with a conspiratorial wink. "Don't ruin the surprise." "What about mine?" I pressed. He shifted awkwardly. "Your mom and I talked it over. Connor needs a car for all his commitments. You mostly just go to school." I went places too. Art exhibitions, music contests, volunteering at the youth center. But those weren't the right activities. They weren't flashy, celebrated, or BMW-worthy. On our birthday morning, I woke to a silent house. Downstairs, caterers were already prepping for the evening's bash. Mom, in her robe, was orchestrating floral displays. "Happy birthday," I said. She jumped slightly. "Oh, Jasper, happy birthday, sweetie. Could you stay upstairs today? We're setting up, and Connor's getting ready at the club with his friends." "Where should I get ready?" I asked. Her face flickered with confusion. "Ready for what?" "The party. Our party." Silence stretched until it broke. "Oh honey, this is Connor's party. You find big crowds overwhelming, don't you? We thought you'd prefer doing your own thing." "My own thing on our shared birthday. But it's my birthday too." "Of course it is," she said. "We'll celebrate separately. Maybe next weekend." I retreated upstairs, sitting on my bed as the sounds of preparation echoed below. Ice sculptures arriving. A DJ testing speakers. A string quartet tuning up. Naturally, Connor's party demanded both live music and a DJ. By 5 p.m., guests began to arrive. From my window, I watched classmates, neighbors, and family friends pour in, dressed in cocktail finery. My aunt, uncle, cousins, and friends I thought were mine too. By 6, I couldn't take it anymore. I put on my best shirt and ventured downstairs. The house was transformed. Twinkling lights, lavish bouquets, a giant banner proclaiming, "Happy Sweet 16, Connor." Just Connor. I tried to blend in, but Mom intercepted me instantly. "Jasper, what are you doing here?" "It's my birthday party too." Her face cycled through annoyance, embarrassment, and perhaps a hint of guilt. "Don't cause a scene. This is Connor's night." "What about my night?" "We'll discuss it later. Please go upstairs." "Mom, Jasper." Dad appeared, his tone sharp. "You're upsetting your mother. Go to your room." I stood there briefly, surrounded by people celebrating one half of a twin pair while acting as if the other didn't exist. Connor didn't even notice me. Too busy basking in congratulations from those who'd forgotten there were 2 Mitchell boys born on October 15th. I went upstairs, but not to stay. I packed a backpack, clothes, the $73 I'd saved from tutoring, my laptop, and the acceptance letter to a young artist's program in New York I'd kept secret. I'd planned to finish senior year, but suddenly the house felt suffocating. At 8 p.m., as Dad presented Connor with the BMW keys to thunderous cheers, I watched from the kitchen window. My twin, my supposed best friend, soaked up praise for simply existing while I was erased. I slipped out the back door. No one noticed. The 11:47 p.m. bus to New York carried me away. I waited at the station, expecting my phone to light up with worried calls. Where was I? Why had I left? Nothing. Midnight passed. Our birthday ended. My phone stayed silent. At 12:47 a.m., as the bus rolled away from my old life, Connor texted once. Where are you? Mom says you're being dramatic again. I powered off my phone and didn't turn it on for 3 months. New York was brutal. 17, lying about my age, alone with $73 and no place to sleep. But the Young Artists program offered emergency housing, and the director, seeing desperation in my eyes, bent the rules. Family issues? She asked softly. I don't have a family, I said and meant it. I poured myself into art with the intensity of someone with nothing to lose, painting my pain, composing my anger, sculpting my abandonment. Other students called me driven, intense. They didn't know I was just trying to forge a new self, free from the shadow of a golden twin. 6 months in, I legally became Jasper Cross, adopting my art teacher's surname. She'd been more of a parent than my biological ones ever were. It felt like shedding a skin, emerging as someone who'd never been second best. I stayed in New York after the program, working 3 jobs, living in a tiny apartment, and creating every spare moment. Small galleries noticed my work, then larger ones. My art, always about duality, abandonment, the pain of being unseen, struck a chord with others who'd felt erased. By 21, I had my first solo show. By 23, museums acquired my pieces. By 25, I could choose my exhibitions. I never reached out to my family. Late at night, I'd sometimes search for them online. Connor followed the predictable path: college, business degree, a job at Dad's firm. The golden boy's shine faded with time, his social media revealing a man who peaked at 16. But I stayed hidden, careful to keep Jasper Cross unlinked to Jasper Mitchell. Then St. Mary's Children's Hospital in Hartford, where I'd spent a month at 11 with pneumonia, and learned from a visiting artist to turn pain into possibility, needed funds for a pediatric arts therapy wing. I donated anonymously at first, but they insisted on recognition. The Jasper Cross Wing for Creative Healing was born. The small dedication ceremony made local news, and my parents saw their invisible son's name tied to a $2 million gift. The first call came hours later. I recognized the number after a decade and didn't answer. Texts, emails, and messages to long-abandoned accounts followed. They'd hired a private investigator who traced Jasper Cross to Jasper Mitchell through art school records. After a week of silence, they appeared at my Chelsea gallery. I saw them on security cameras first. Mom's face taut with disappointment. Dad somehow diminished, Connor heavier, his hair thinning, the shadow of his former glory in his eyes. Can I help you? My assistant asked. We're here to see Jasper, Mom said, her voice carrying that old entitlement. Mr. Cross is working in the back. Do you have an appointment? We're his parents, Dad snapped. We don't need one. I watched them argue, their confusion at being denied access almost amusing. They'd never been told no when it came to their child, their one child. I stepped out. Recognition hit them hard. Connor's face, my face crumpled. Jasper. Mr. Cross, I corrected. How can I help you? Don't be absurd, Mom said, her voice trembling. We're your family. I don't have a family. I'm an only child, remember? The silence was perfect. We never said that, Dad protested. No, you just threw a party for one twin and banished the other. You gave one son a BMW and the other nothing. You invited 200 people to celebrate half a whole. You're being dramatic, Mom said, reverting to old patterns. It was complicated. Connor had more friends. Stop. I raised a hand. I'm not 16 anymore. I don't need your excuses or your gaslighting. I needed parents who saw me. That chance passed a decade ago. Connor stepped forward. Jazz, come on. We're brothers. Are we? When did you notice I was gone, Connor? That night. The next day? Or did it take a week to realize your shadow was missing? He flushed. That's not fair. Fair. I laughed. You got a car. I got erased. You got a party. I got a bus ticket bought with tutoring money. You got everything. I built myself from nothing. Dad gestured at the gallery. And look what you've built. You should thank us. Thank you. I said, the word sharp. For showing me early I was alone. For teaching me love comes with conditions. For making me think I was worthless. We never said you were worthless, Mom insisted. You never said anything. That was the issue. They stood there, strangers who shared my DNA, taking in the gallery, the prices on my work, the framed article calling me a leading artist of my generation. We could start over, Mom offered. Be a family again. Again? When were we ever a family? Don't be cruel, Connor said. We made mistakes. You didn't make mistakes. You made choices. Every birthday you celebrated alone. Every family photo I wasn't in. Every time you said you were an only child at college because it was easier than admitting you had a twin who didn't matter. I'd tracked them too. Knew Connor had called himself an only child in interviews, erasing me completely. What do you want? Dad asked. Money? Is that what this is? Even now, they saw me as a problem to solve with cash. I want you to leave. I want you to understand that the Jasper Mitchell you ignored died at 16. I'm Jasper Cross now. I built this life without you, and I'll keep living it that way. You can't just cut us off, Mom said, tears falling. I didn't cut you off. You cut me off. I just made it official. Security arrived. I'd signaled them earlier. As they escorted my former family out, Connor turned back. I'm sorry, he said. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. It's worth exactly what you paid for it, I replied. Nothing. They left, and I stood in my gallery, surrounded by art born from rejection, success forged from abandonment. Naming the hospital wing was my one misstep, letting my name link back to them. But perhaps it was necessary, to show them what I'd become without them. That night, Connor emailed, a long, rambling apology about pressure, about not realizing, about thinking I was just being Jasper by leaving. Even an apology, he couldn't see it. I'd been the difficult one, the dramatic one, the one who couldn't settle for scraps. I deleted it without replying. The next morning, my assistant brought a package with no return address, but I knew Mom's handwriting. Inside was a photo album I'd never seen. Pictures of Connor and me as babies, toddlers, before one twin became worthy of celebration, and the other forgettable. The final page held a single photo. Connor at his 16th birthday, holding up the BMW keys, with my face faintly visible through the kitchen window, watching already gone. Beneath it, Mom wrote, "We see you now. Too little too late. 10 years too late." I kept the album but had my lawyer send a cease and desist letter. No more contact. No more reconciliation attempts. The family that buried me at 16 didn't get to claim me at 26 just because I'd succeeded. The hospital wing opened 6 months later. I spoke at the dedication about art as healing, creation from destruction. I never mentioned my family but spoke of phantom limb syndrome. How twins who lose their other half feel the absence like a missing piece. Sometimes, I said, what feels like loss is freedom. Sometimes the missing piece was holding you back. The applause was warm, real. In the audience, I saw others like me, discarded siblings, forgotten children, people who'd built themselves anew. My tribe, my chosen family. That night, in my apartment, I looked at the photo of 16-year-old me at the window. That boy left with $73 and a shattered heart, believing he was nothing because those who should have loved him saw nothing. But he was wrong. He wasn't nothing. He was possibility, unrecognized potential, art waiting to be created. The BMW Connor got that night? I looked it up once. Crashed 2 years later, totaled. The insurance probably bought a decent used car. But my nothing, the erasure that sent me running, became everything. A life, a career, a name that meant something because I made it mean something. They could keep searching for Jasper Mitchell. He was gone a decade ago. In his place stood Jasper Cross, artist, philanthropist, survivor.